you want me to stop sharing?
You might as well. Actually, no, you can leave it going. Let's do a search for a Monopoly board, please. So what I want us to do now is start modeling a Monopoly board. Right, we've got a player. We've got some dice. Let's start looking at, there you go, UK Monopoly board. Now, you might want to take a copy of that somewhere where you can read it nice and easily. We need to, what we're going to do now is start talking about how to model a Monopoly board.
Okay.
Like we did with the shoes and the dice. So anything that's big enough and readable enough for us to have a conversation. Of course, I can always do this if you like.
I'm not fussed.
Cool. Okay, so when we were looking at the shoes and the dice, we talked about the nouns and the verbs. So we model a thing by looking at the nouns and the verbs, and we know it's a thing because we can touch it. And we also did a little bit of process modeling. And the process modeling we did was the imaginary dice rolling. So yeah, that was a process. Okay, so thinking about the nouns and the verbs, what can you tell me about this board? And let's try and have a conversation about it. And perhaps Fraser, you can keep a little text pad entry hovering over this so that you can start adding in the nouns and the verbs. So let's look at the nouns first of all. What is this board? What's this board comprised of?
It's mainly
oops, sorry.
properties, and then there's the four corners, and then action, the community, and chant.
Okay. Yep, let's get these down then on a piece of paper. Okay.
Pretty tricky to actually get it in.
It is, isn't it? It's tricky.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, so right, let's make a list of nouns.
What are you talking about each individual property, or?
Yeah. Well, just everything about the board that we can think of that is that we can put a name to.
Well, you've got the train stations.
Okay, so let's put train stations times 4. And in fact, actually, you might as well list them out. I'll tell you what, we'll leave that as an exercise for later on. So we've got 4 train stations, yeah? What else have we got?
The chance spaces. There's, I think, 3 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2. Oh, there 3. Oh yes, I see them. Yeah.
And 3 community as well.
Yep.
Guess times 3. Okay. That's good.
It's got an equal number of spaces on each side.
Okay. So, and how many is that?
1, 2,
3, 4, 6, 7.
9, not including the corners.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, yeah. So 9 and a corner.
We have 2 utilities as well.
Okay.
What's the light bulb one? Oh, that's utilities.
Electric.
Yeah.
Electric and waterworks.
Okay, and we've got 4 corners.
Mhm.
Let's add those in. Okay.
It's super tax.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so there's a super tax and an income tax.
Oh yeah, yeah, income tax. Great.
Oh yeah.
On, no, I was going to say 1 free parking, but those are already covered in the corners, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and we've got a community chest and a chance area. So that's something actually we should model as well. So we've got community chest deck and a chance deck, as they are, I suppose, aren't they? They're a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Cool. And if there were 3 of us playing, I guess we'd have 3 players.
Mhm.
So I guess number of players. Yeah.
Okay. And they're normally represented by some icon, but we can do that cleverness later. Okay. The bank doesn't really feature, does it? It's just a never-ending supply of money, and you have your own amount of money as a player. But it's not. It's never like the bank has run out of money. It's not something we need to model, is it? It's an endless supply of cash.
Yeah, need to
Go round the board 1,000 times, you keep taking 200 quid as you go past go.
Mhm.
Okay, so how many? Well, it's 11 by 11, isn't it? 121 squares. Is that right?
Um,
Um,
yeah.
is it?
It seems like a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, and I think it's
What was
it'd
it?
be like 38 or something. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
it would be if if it was full of them. Yes. Okay. So there's 4 nines.
It's 14 total.
Yeah.
If you have 11, 22, add 2 9s is 40.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we've got so 40. What do you want to call them? Spaces?
Yeah.
Or 40?
So there's sort of in jail and visiting jail.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yeah.
Would you say 41 spaces then? It's
It's a good question. So let me ask you this: if we're modelling a player's state,
Mhm.
i.e., how much money they've got, what their name is, what their position is on the board, if they're just visiting jail, they're in that position, whatever
Yep.
that position number is. And if they're in jail, they're also in that position.
But they can't move.
But how do we differentiate between being on the position and in jail? We could just have an in jail flag,
Yeah.
which is false or true, isn't it? We could have that as a player state. Okay, or some kind of state. Okay, so and here's the thing with this model: there's going to be a lot of ways we can model this, and so this is the start of the conversation, I guess. So let me ask you then. How do we know? How can we figure out where someone is on the board?
I guess assign each space a number.
Assign each space a number. Excellent. Okay, yeah. So we've got 40 numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah. So actually make a note of that underneath, please, Fraser. Let's say assign spaces, assign numbers to spaces or spaces to numbers or whatever. Okay. Well, let's follow that. So if I'm on space number 4, what is that space?
I guess, is that Coronary?
In
Coventry Street,
would
maybe,
go
or
would go be 0 or 1, I think.
Well, if you start on go, you roll a dice,
You go.
or you roll a pair of dice, I beg your pardon,
Mhm.
and you move that number of spaces. So if you get well, it can only be well, if you say 4, so that's a 3 and a 1. 1, 2, that would be income tax.
Yep.
So go would be 0 then.
Or 040, yeah.
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 Oh yeah, it'll be 40, wouldn't it?
Well, this is interesting because we know that when we have an array of things in programming, it generally starts counting from 0. So it would be perfectly appropriate to count that as the 0th position in an array. I mean, we could have an array. I mean, an array will always start at 0. Whatever you put in that position.
So I guess it's convenient to.
So you could refer to it as position 0 because it will be in code terms, and it does kind of sound like when you start on position 0 and you roll the dice, you don't count go as one of your ones. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Who's messaging me? Sorry. Okay, cool. So when we roll the dice, I guess the player needs to move to that position.
Mhm.
Okay. So again, let's make a note of that. And what we're doing here is we're writing sort of pseudocode. We're just getting our thoughts out, which is how does it work? I mean, you know, when you sit there and you roll the dice and you move your positions, all of that happens without you thinking because you already understand it. But the computer doesn't, so we need to talk it through. So when the player rolls the dice, move the player to the...
I guess it adds that number to their position.
It adds the number to the position, yeah. That's
and
right.
Then they move
So
to
if you're already on
position,
position
I
number
guess.
4 and you roll a 3, you're not going to move back 1, you're going to move on. Once dice rolled, player moves to the position. New position. Cool. Good. Okay. I mean, the nice thing is when we're modeling this, you'd immediately see the bug. Like, oh, hang on, I've moved backwards. Yeah, no, that's good. Excellent. Good work. And now you see why we were modeling players and modeling dice. Well, that was obvious anyway. I'm sorry. Stupid thing to say. Okay. What else might happen?
Getting sent to jail from, I guess, the jail space, or is it if you roll
3 doubles in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? If you roll 3 doubles in a row, when it's your go, do you just roll 2 dice, right? Or do you do it several times?
Yeah, you roll 2 dice, and then if you get a double, you get another go. But if you get 3 doubles, you go to jail.
Oh, great. Write that down. If you roll a double, you get another turn. If you roll 3 doubles, you go to jail.
Double.
Have it as a separate rule, another line. You might as well, because actually that's one rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
Triple double, go to jail. Cool. Now, when you do that double, the first double there, you get to do whatever you want on that square that you land on, don't you? It's not
Yeah.
like you immediately roll and move on.
No.
Okay, cool. So it is another entire go, right? Okay.
I mean, I guess it is kind of dependent on how you play it, but personally, like my family plays it, you can't buy anything on the first go round.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure if that's an actual rule.
I've never seen that before, but we could have it as
I have
an
heard.
optional.
You can have that as an optional. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's put that in. Okay, so let's have a look at our things here. We've got, okay, so what I want us to do now is go through this list of nouns and let's talk about the behaviors of each noun. So train stations times 4. So you might as well go and add some notes under the train stations times 4, Fraser.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay. All right, talk to me about what happens with these bad boys. I mean, I could just tell you all this, right? But then that's not you doing any thinking and figuring out what's going on.
If you land on one, you have to pay the rent for one. But if someone has a collection of two, or if someone has a collection of the 4 stations, you have to pay a increased fee for the rent.
Okay, so let's assume then that when you land on a station and nobody else, there are options.
Oh, you can buy it. Obviously.
Okay, so let's assume we're not playing your rule and the board is empty for our first round of modelling.
Mm-hmm.
So you've rolled enough to get to a station. What are your choices? You can
Buy it or just leave it alone.
buy it or leave it alone. You can only buy it if you've got enough money.
Yeah.
Shall we have that as a default rule that is understood?
Mm-hmm.
If you have enough money and a thing is not bought, you can buy it. Cool. Great. Okay. So should we call that is purchasable?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're modelling a train station, we can know. It'd be useful to know if it is purchasable, which means it is available, and you've got enough money. Yeah. Okay. Is that right? Well, let's.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay. So, what happens if someone else owns it?
You pay rent or a fee or something like that.
Okay, so let's write the pseudo code for that. If the station is owned by someone else, already owned, yeah, that's great.
Pay rent to
Pay rent, yeah, no, that's great. That's a lovely. Okay, and then there's some sub rules there. You said, aren't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which are, is it double rent if someone's got 2 stations?
Yeah, I think you pay like maybe 25 if you have one, 50 for 2, 100 for 3, 200 for 4.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Write those down then, and if the values are wrong, that's kind of irrelevant. We'll change the values to suit.
Just said if the owner owns multiple, then the cost increases.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's lovely. Now, what else can we say about that particular space? What's that one? Marylebone Station. So what can we say about, how else can we describe that position?
Or via his number.
Okay, yeah, so it's got a number. All right, what's its number? Okay, yeah, so actually it's put its position. Is this right? Position equals
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
position equals 5. Is it? 0,
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. Huh.
Is that 1, 2, 3? Yeah, it's 5, isn't it?
Well, it's the fifth one. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
okay, yeah. But we were thinking about it in the array.
I thought we were having.
Zero goes position
3,
0.
4.
I thought we'd decided.
So position 0. So that fifth square is at position 4. Count from go to I'm sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, yeah, position 5. Got shit in my eyes, boys. I was looking at income tax. Okay, and what?
Oh.
So it's also got a little train icon, isn't it?
Yeah, all of these prices as well are like not the original ones. They're
Under.
like in the millions and billions. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
maybe they're the actual prices of them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, this might be a really up-to-date one, I suppose.
It's from the Daily Mail. So.
Ah. Okay. So it has an icon. It has a name.
See value as well.
So is that the purchase price?
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Okay. So we've got a renting price and a purchase price. Okay.
I don't know if you want to, because obviously you have the property cards as well, but the property cards have got. Would you treat them differently to? Are we just looking at the like the border line at the moment? We're not looking at the cards.
Well,
Because
I'm trying to model everything that we see right now.
if you don't physically have the cards, I'm not sure how it's going to be done, but you could do it so if you land on that property, you can see all the renting values and stuff, because they have a mortgage price as well.
Oh, do they? Okay, cool. Let's put the mortgage price on then.
But that's only displayed on the card.
When you say on the card.
So you have a deck of property cards as well.
Yeah, when you buy a property, you get a card to hold on to.
Do you?
I think.
Yeah, you get nice little cards and you put them all together and you tuck them under your side of the board, don't you?
Yeah, and they have like the renting prices and then the mortgage on the back of it as well, if you want to.
Oh, cool. Okay, well let's add the fact that each one of these has a card. Well, let's put it on the train station list. Let's put this. Sorry, beg your pardon. Let's put it there. Yeah. So it's got a property card, and then we'll have to model the property cards. Yes, yeah, I understand your question now. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I'd forgotten that we did that there are those cards. Property card. Okay. Okay, that's good. And what else can we say about those? Let's okay, so let's actually write down the 4 names, the 4 values, and the 4 positions.
Okay.
It's 5, 15, 25, and 35.
Mossy. Moss Chops is trying to build a nest on the bed. Give me a nest. There you go. Oh, little nesty. No, sweetheart. Okay, now we're into the meat of the thing here. This is good.
Was it position? Oh, yeah.
15, 25 and 35.
5, yeah.
55.
25 and 35.
Wow.
So,
Going to be fun trying to draw that board on the internet, isn't it?
Yeah.
But here's an interesting question. If you were to cut that into strips and just have them in one long row, could you still play the game?
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to have a loop back, wouldn't you, at the start and finish, or the
Well,
finish.
so long as something knows to go from the 39th position back to the 0th position. As long as you have some logic that does that. It doesn't really matter how you draw it. Because you wouldn't want to try and draw that on a mobile phone, would you?
No, it would be a bit big, and the writing would be too small.
I mean, I'm thinking here, looking at the screen. If I'm landing on Community Chest, right, in between Oxford Street and Piccadilly, down on the bottom, all I'd want to see is me on Community Chest, and maybe a half-blurred Piccadilly on the right and a half-blurred Oxford Street on the left, or something. So you imagine playing it on a phone. You only see the square that you're on, and you can click on another user to see where they are if you wanted to, and the display could update like that. And you'd kind of have this imaginary Monopoly square without ever drawing a square.
You would have to be able to see everyone's properties, though. So once you get further in the game, you need to be able to see who's got which properties.
Yeah, but you don't get to choose, do you? I mean, it's almost irrelevant who's got properties. You go where the dice tells you. You don't get a choice, do you?
Yeah, I mean,
but when you land on one, you need to know that it's got properties.
Yeah, and like your decisions are based on who's got whose properties a lot of the time.
Are they?
So if you see that someone has 2 yellows and say you land on the last yellow, you would look at the fact that they've got 2 yellows and you may choose to buy it. But if no one has a yellow, then you may not buy it.
Yeah.
And things can be used as like bargaining tools sometimes.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. That's good to know. Yeah.
So you do need a way of looking at the kind of like wider scope.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Good. Interesting stuff. Okay. So we've got Marylebone, Fenchurch, King's Cross, and Liverpool Street. $1 billion. Ha, ha, ha. 1.5 billion. Okay. I mean, do you know, I'm nostalgic now for the old values and the old money that we had on it. Okay.
Yeah, I can't really remember what they were.
No. Okay, that's good. Is there anything more we can say about those positions, those cards, those? What are they? They're properties.
Mm-hmm.
Are they properties? Yeah. Okay.
I think that's kind of everything.
That's it for the train stations. Okay, next one down the list is chance times 3.
When you land on one, you draw a chance card, and it has any number. Well, just a random thing on it that you have to do what it says, I guess.
Okay, so the rule is that when you land on it, you're effectively picking a random card, aren't you? A random chance card.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the top one on the deck, but you
But
deck, yeah. So you're getting the next random card.
You wouldn't class this as a property, would you, really?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it isn't a property. You're right.
I guess each property has the same sort of parameters or fields.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Purchasable, like different card value, the rent that they have associated with them. Whereas chance obviously has none of that.
No.
Mhm.
Isn't working out for you there, is it, Fraser, with this formatting?
No, just not like it's just not like Word. Every day I just hate Apple more and more.
Yeah. I do as well. I mean, I've got one for my recording studio, but my goodness, do I find it frustrating because it isn't Windows. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do we know how many cards there are in the chance deck?
No.
Okay.
Not
Make a note. Look up number of cards. And in fact, we actually need to know what each and every card is and what it does. So there's another little spike story for us, a little investigation.
There's 16 chance cards.
Oh, are there? Okay. 16 chance cards, and we just need to know what the wording on each one is and what they do. Good. Excellent. Okay, so that's good. I mean, that's a nice little product backlog item for us. Somebody needs to do what we call a spike, which is a bit of investigation. And often a spike is a bit of coding. You'll go, I'm not quite sure how to do this, so let me spend 2 hours having a play. Oh, great, it's 10 minutes work. Or, oh my God, it's 3 months work. In this case, it's probably a bit of annoying typing. But that's what we call a spike. So we'll schedule that in, find function of each card. And the community chest is basically the same thing, isn't it? But with a different name.
Yeah, I'd say so. There is I guess this will come into play when we find the function of each card, but there is a get out of jail free card, which you keep.
Okay. Is that community chest or a chance, do you think?
I think there's 2 in community and 1 in chance.
Oh, cool. Okay. So these cards are keepable.
Yeah, the just the get out of jail free ones.
Okay. Cards, yeah. Find the function of each card. Okay, and you might as well add a note to each one under each section there that card may be retained by user. It's so long since I played this, I've forgotten that. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Right. So now we move on. Oh, is there anything more about those 2 things that you can remember? Anything else?
Not really.
Okay.
Not that doesn't play into the function of each card.
Okay, so now let's move on to the 9 spaces each side. Talk to me about those. Oh, wait a minute. The community chest and chance, what do they look like?
So they each have an icon.
Okay, cool. Put that in there then. And in fact, the chance cards have different color icons and the community chests have the same icons.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Probably worth noting that under chance. Okay, so talk to me about these coloured ones. Sorry, these cards of colour.
They're each split into two sets of properties. Well, there's two sets of properties on each side.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those properties are defined by colour.
Okay, so let's list that out. Colour. So it's like they're in a set, isn't it?
Yeah.
So properties of the same colour are in the same set. They actually make a logical unit, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the English for that then, yeah. Properties of the same set share the same colour. Excellent, okay. So each one has a colour. Okay, so what you've done there is you've described this kind of grouping idea. You've described a process there, look.
Okay.
It isn't really a tangible thing. It's the idea that those three pale blue things are all part of an imaginary set of things. Okay, so
Okay, so I need to be more specific.
We're saying that things with the same color are of the same set. Each property has okay. Each property has a color, yeah, and each property is in a set with other properties. And that may become useful to have in our model, the fact that there are 3 yellow ones, and if I own 2 of them, you want to buy the 3rd one if you can. Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting idea, because we've also got a set of 3 chances and 3 community chests and 4 stations and 2 utilities. So those are all special, and 2 taxes. So they're all sets, aren't they? And we intuitively map that in our human brains. We just know that because we see the colors and we understand the game without talking about it. We know they're of the same thing.
Yeah, I guess it's still useful to group them together, but some sets don't actually interact with each other. So chance, community,
yeah,
the taxes are they're grouped together, I guess, but they don't need to be, if that makes sense, because they don't actually do anything together.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the same sort of. They do the same thing, but aren't really related to each other. In there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So each property is a color. Each property is in a set with other properties. And each property has a name. You just put name down, that'll be fine.
And price as well.
Is that a purchase price? Yeah.
Yeah.
Purchase price. And what else does it have? It also has a card.
Yeah.
Interestingly, no icons. Oh, it's not that interesting, I suppose. Actually. Okay. So that's good. What about rules for on there? If you so they are purchasable if you have the money and if no one else buys it. And if you land on it, you
pay the rent.
Pay the rent, yeah.
If you're getting into like the rent, there's quite a few more rules. I don't know if we're keeping that to the cards. cards or not, or we keep, if that makes sense. Are we keeping the card and the property separate, or are we joining the rules together?
Good question. I mean, the card is, it's like an extension of the position, isn't it? It's just another view of the position, and you're holding the card.
And the card defines the rules for all of the rent as well.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
I guess the card is just sort of displaying the properties of the property.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense to model it anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you were playing it as a game on the phone, you might go, "Oh, brilliant! I've got a card," and you can look at it and you can flip it to the other side and flip it back. So yeah, we should probably also model the cards then. So it's got a card that's good, and rent paid if landed on, and that's part of the card rule, isn't it?
Oh, okay. So
is it part of the card rules?
Yeah, that would be on the card.
Okay.
Should I keep that separate then?
Yeah. We'll just add cards in underneath afterward. I mean, yeah, leave the fact that it has a card, and leave it into the afterwards. Hello. I think she's in the other room. We are modelling Monopoly currently. Okay. Anything else about those? I guess they may have houses and hotels on.
Yeah. Or they have like the capacity to. I've got Fraser and Alex Schmeller. And can you have, is it, I think we used to play that you could have up to 4 houses. And how many hotels? I think it may, I'm not sure on hotels actually.
I think the actual rules is you can go up to 4 houses, and then if you want a 5th one, it turns into a hotel.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look at rules for that then. Let's put down a bit of a research hotel house rules. Okay. Right. So let's move on to utilities if nothing else comes to mind. I'm going to leave you to figure this out. Let's go.
The respective card, an icon for each one.
Yeah.
Purchase price.
Yeah. And a position. We left out position in empty chest and chance and the properties.
Is there any special rules for the owning both of the utilities?
Actually, if you land on either one of them, or if you have a single, because they're a two-piece set, if you have one of them and someone lands on them, the rent is, I think, 4 times what they rolled to get to that position. And then it's something like it's eight times if you have both cards or something.
Wow.
Or something, basically the rent is dependent on the score you got on your dice
Okay.
roll.
So rent research required. Okay. What we've got: icon, respective card, position, and so there is a card. There's a card for each of those, and there's only 2 of them in there. Okay. And okay, cool. Okay, next, let's go. Let's go. Keep going for the other things.
Okay. Corners, well, you have a position number to start off with.
Yeah.
And then you have an icon for each one.
Okay, yeah. And some.
I guess you could say there's like a rule for each one. So for go, you collect £200. For go to jail, you go to jail. For free parking, you pick up however much money was on that free parking space.
Ah, okay. So there's a game rule for each one.
Yeah.
Okay, and perhaps you can write those down. Up the free parking cash, yeah. So that's where all the fines and stuff from community chest get paid to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whoa, big money! What a great game!
It is. Yeah, I play it quite a bit with my family.
Do you still play it as a family?
Yeah. Whenever it's Christmas or when we're all down together, we always play it together. Usually,
Oh, that's nice.
there's a lot of frustration sometimes, but we still play it.
Excellent. Your mum's great like that.
She does like board games. Yeah.
Sweet.
Might want to elaborate on the jail space a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So
You could call it.
Well, that's the go to jail card, so that's all right.
Yeah.
It's the other one that's the problem, isn't it? In jail / just visiting. What would we call that one?
I mean, can you not call it in jail / just visiting?
Yeah, we could, yeah. Okay, that's good. So there's a rule for each one. And there's no card associated with it, is there?
No.
Okay, cool. Right, what else have we got? Super tax and income tax, they're kind of the same thing, aren't they? But so they don't have an icon.
well, they
Oh, actually,
sort of do.
well, yeah, they do, don't they?
So what was the rule for jail? In jail, is it if you roll a 6? Or are we going to get to that later?
A triple triple double roll?
I mean,
Or-
once you're in jail, how do you get out?
sorry. You have to wait 3 goes to get out, or you pay £50.
Okay.
Or you can use a get out of jail free card.
Ah, right. Well, it's actually worth, thank you. It's worth writing all those down.
Alex, are you regarding in jail and just visiting as different positions then, or like different states in the same position?
It might be a good idea to have it as just like a separate space, and then once you get out, you move to the just visiting and roll from there.
If it is a separate space, then we'd have to
Yeah.
change all the other ones.
Or maybe you go to, maybe it's just one space, but you have the state in jail or not in jail. So
I would go for that.
if you have the state, then you have to do the specific things. If not, then you're just in like a regular space.
If you added another space, then it would make it
It'd be
symmetric
it would
anymore.
mess with all the
But it'd
stuff.
make it tricky to start drawing, wouldn't it? Because you'd want it, if you wanted it to look like that, it'd be tricksy. And otherwise, you'd need all sorts of rules about what happens if you're on the blue one beforehand and you roll. Are you actually moving 2 spaces or 3 spaces or what? Yeah, and then the drawing rules would be funny. I would have it as a special state.
So it's wait 3 goes, 3 turns.
Yeah, pay 50. I guess all the prices and everything will be. We'll just have to do some research on them because
Yeah, there's different numbers on this board.
a bit worth us getting £200 from Go if the properties are like.
Yeah. So there needs to be a bit of a revisit for prices. And it doesn't matter so long as the game works with the correct prices, with a correct set. Doesn't matter, it was 200 quid when I was a kid.
I think there's quite a few different versions now, isn't there?
Yeah. But this is what we're doing, right? Because we're going to build one of our later parts of the project is go, right, let's make a Bude one. And let's make a Burgess Hill one or Exeter or whatever.
Okay. So what's next? Taxes. So
I think that's probably one of the easiest ones, isn't it? Position number, icon, and you pay a fee for free parking.
Okay, cool. So actually that space in the middle is I mean, we used to call that the kitty, how much money is in the kitty. We've modeled the fact that there's the chance area and the chance deck and the community chest deck. Then we need a kitty deck or a free parking cash, a piggy bank, or some name to represent where the fines get paid to.
Free parking.
Cool. Okay. That's great. Now, here's a philosophical question for you. Except it's not really a philosophical question. How many players are we allowed?
is it up to 6? I don't remember.
Okay. Well, let's have
Oh,
an arbitrary rule of up to 6 or whatever you like.
Is it like 2 to 6?
Yeah.
Can't really play with just one.
Okay, 2 to 6 players. Cool. There's no reason why we couldn't have a digital player, right? A robot player.
Yeah.
With really basic, low strategy, buy everything kind of rules.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do we track whose turn it is? Let's say, Alex, you've gone first.
Yep.
How does the game know, or who knows whose turn it is? How does that?
You can number each player, can you?
Yeah, I guess after the turn ends, it advances through a sort of array of the
Players' numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or you could do it alphabetically if you don't want to do additional.
Oh. I'm just thinking, let's extend the game so that you all have to roll a dice to find out which position when you go first, second, third, or fourth. That could be an interesting little side project, couldn't it? About ordering the players by an initial dice roll for the crack. That could be some homework for someone, for all of you. Okay, so you might as well make a note of that the players run in the order they are in the array. And if we want to change the order, then that's another bit of work we can do. But there needs to be the concept of the current player. So we know that if there are 3, it goes in looking at my video screen, it goes Alex, Jace, Fraser, and then it's Alex again, and then Jace again, and then Fraser again. But we need some idea of whose go is it now? Who is the current player?
Because there's certain rules that are dependent of if it's your go. You can only do certain actions if it's your go.
Right.
So like buying properties or putting houses or hotels, you can only do if it's your go.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. So we need to track the current player. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because it affects the rules, and it also affects whose go it is next. It's the next person in the array. This is good. This is really complex, isn't it? All that stuff you just take for granted by knowing it with your big meaty human brain.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to know the player position, don't we? Oh,
Yeah.
did you already model that at the top or somewhere?
No, we have down.
Okay.
Yeah. Once dice rolled, player moves to a new position. Dice score added to position score.
Okay. So what else does a Monopoly play? Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's put a player model in here then, like we've modeled the taxes and the four corners. Let's model a player, and this is coming back to why I wanted person not to be player, because we can now reuse person for any number of games. But all the things that are to do with Monopoly will be part of a Monopoly player or a Monopoly person instead of a generic person, right? Because I don't have a dog icon in real life or a boot icon. I've actually got a lobster door knocker. Have I showed you this?
Oh.
A doorknob, did you say?
Yeah, lobster door knocker.
Oh, a door knocker.
That's my Monopoly piece. Okay. So player score, player position.
Yeah.
Is current player.
Sorry, are you saying that on a new point? Or
Yeah, on a new bullet point. So we can have another property of the player, which is current player. So that tracks whether we're the person that's playing currently or whether it's someone else's turn. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Huh, okay. There'll be some mechanism to figure out. Okay. Player score, player position, is current player, player icon. We might as well have an icon. Should we have an icon?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That we know the game needs, if we want it to be traditional Monopoly, the game needs to have, what, 6 different player icons available?
Mhm. The player has to have has to have money as well, don't they?
Yes, is that what score is? Oh no, position. Sorry, that's position score. Okay. So
Player,
what's position score?
as in I should probably put position number. That makes more sense.
Okay, and that's where you are on the board.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Could you call it player money score?
Just player money. Yeah. Player icon 1 of 6. Okay. Player name. Might as well, or player nickname, or something. Although I guess arguably, if you've got an icon, that's effectively it, isn't it?
Hmm.
So let's put that. See, I'll mark that as optional, perhaps.
As you progress, obviously you get properties as well.
Oh yes, okay. Like, okay, yep, and they're either properties or cards, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say
One and the same thing, aren't they? This is going to be an interesting bit of modelling because fundamentally they all represent the same thing.
cards would also include a get out of jail free card though, if you do get one.
Yeah, cool. Okay, nice. Yeah, yeah, good. Nicely modelled, sir. Okay, so let's. Are there any other rules? Any other things about the player? No. Okay. Let's talk about the physical game. Let's talk about the physical game and the game processes. So let's have another section there for game. The game has 2 to 6 players, doesn't it? So 2 to 6 players. Okay, so whilst we said that's a rule, actually it's a property, isn't it? We would need an array of 2 to 6. So 2 to 6 players. And I'm thinking actually the game needs the notion of the current player. So if we're thinking of the game as, let's say we're playing this remotely, right? We can't see each other or talk to each other. This game is hosted on a web server. I need to know whose go is currently happening and the fact that it's now my go. So yes, we need a current player status. Yeah, okay. We need a set of 2 dice or a dice roller with 2 dice. We need all of the things that we just modeled up above. So what are we going to call those? Position. Okay, so the other thing we're doing today is we're almost determining a glossary of terms, aren't we? We know what a player is, and we know what a property is. But what would we call all of those things? Is position good enough? Do you think? Should we just call them? Each square is a position. Should we call it that, or do you want to come up with another name?
I've just written like track player position when about that.
Okay.
So,
how many? So, but what's the? So if you look at this as a physical piece of thing, right? There's a square card there, and it has all those subdivisions. What are we going to call those? Are we going to call them positions?
I think
or
position, or
game squares, or
with the player's actual position, do you? If you call them positions, if that makes sense.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So you don't want to, if you call them positions, then you could get it confused with the player's position.
Okay, yes, good point. Good point. Okay.
I guess the player is on a position, and each card is the position that, I guess, if that makes sense. So I guess it would. I'm not sure how to sort of.
Can we call them game squares?
Yeah.
Because that's reasonably. Is that reasonably clear to us all?
Yeah, it's fairly self-explanatory.
Okay, and so we know that there are, what, 40 of them, 40 game squares. Okay, because I'm thinking about, right, if we change to Bude or Exeter or wherever you are, Fraser, Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford.
It's not going to be the same. The number of game squares will probably be the same, right? Because that's kind of how the game works. But what's in them will be different.
Yeah, I think it's just the names and the prices. What's different, and the icons.
Okay, and guess what we just learned to do? We just learned to save things to disk. So we could have a standard set, classic Monopoly, and we could make a Monopoly game editor and be able to save a game configuration to disk. So you could make as many different Monopoly boards as you wanted. And you now have the technology to do that because you've got the loading and saving and deleting down and the admin screens to wire it all together. Ooh, okay. What else does it? Okay, so we're tracking the.
Oh, you need houses and hotels, don't you? Or is this not?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we do. We need them somewhere. Yeah. Does the game have it, or do the properties have it? That's a state that a property has, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, I guess it's similar to the bank, isn't it? Like you'd assume.
Yeah, there's as many properties as you need up to the rules. Okay. Okay. I think we should leave that there because I don't want to get too far ahead without Mike. But we've gone an enormous way forward to modelling this game now, right?
Yeah.
Who would have thought there was so much in it? So what we're going to start doing is we're going to have an OO lesson tomorrow, object oriented. We're going to talk about inheritance, and we're going to start writing out some classes that model all of this.
I think it's Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Brilliant. That gives me more time to prepare. So if you could save that, please, Fraser, and maybe add it to a wiki page.
Yeah, sure.
That would be really useful, actually. And then you can dress it up and make it look nice if you like. And if you wouldn't mind, sorry to put this paperwork on you, start a glossary of terms. So, a position is where you are on the board, or a position is actually what your game square number is.
Okay.
That sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, that might be the only one that you need to write. But it's good to have a list of terms, and especially in the real world, because when people are modeling the real world in business, they have different names for things, and it can be really confusing because as an ordinary human, if someone says go down to the store, they actually mean go down to the shop.
Yeah.
But depending on how far you're down the autistic spectrum, if they're using words that could be confused, it will screw you over. You won't know what they actually mean precisely. So it's good to get the common terms down so that everyone can use them and use them consistently to make communication easier, because modeling the real world in software can be really complex and tricky. Okay, that's great. Thanks, fellas. So we're in on Friday at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Perfect. And I will prepare a little OO lesson and we will start modeling this. Nice job, fellas. I'm going to put the video live in a bit. Well done for today. Hope you enjoyed that. That was interesting. And you're both actually much better at it than before, right? You've got the hang of it. Have you started doing it naturally as you walk around? Have you started looking at things going, it's purple and it's got 2 legs?
Not quite yet.
Not yet, no.
Actually, here's my lamp, which is purple and it's got 2 legs. So I'm not just being filthy. Yeah. It's green and it's a lobster knocker. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, enjoy. Okay. I'll see you then.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.